Hi everyone, it's Renee LaDolce from College Out of the Box, and I hope you're having a great day. So today's topic in video is going to be on how to avoid the college scam. Now, the question I want to ask you is college a scam? The definition of a scam is a fraudulent or deceptive act or operation, or to obtain something such as money as by a scam. So it's going to be up to you to decide for yourself whether or not you think college is a scam or not after you hear this talk, and you can make your own decision on that. But here are some facts that I want to give you, some facts for you to think about. Why is this the only country in the world where we permit and many times encourage our students and our children to be saddled with tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debt? Did you know that the U.S. family spends 6 times more than the average family in other developed countries to send their children to college? So we're spending 6 times more, but we are near the bottom in graduation rates and learning retention. A larger portion of U.S. students are taking remedial classes in college to make up for the deficits from high school. And many kids really have no business or even really no interest in going into college, but they're pushed to do so, either by counselors, by parents, or by society in general. We hear about it all the time. Go to college, you'll be successful, go to college, right? The average worker in the U.S. has substantially more education than the jobs that they are performing require. So, we're also programmed, I put it in quotes, we're programmed to think that to get a good job or to get ahead in life, that we need to go to high school and graduate from high school. We need to graduate with great grades, with lots of volunteer hours, with high scores on our ACTs or SATs, right? And then you get into a good college, and then you spend your 4 years there. And again, I'm putting 4 years in quotes because most of us know most graduate not within the 4 years. It takes anywhere between 5 to 7 years now for the average student to graduate just undergraduate college. So you spend your 4 years there, you graduate, and we're programmed to think that because we followed these unspoken rules, we followed the rules, that now we're going to graduate, we're going to get a great job, and we're going to live happily ever after, right? I mean, this is just what we're told and what we're programmed to believe, and we just hear it often enough that we start to really believe that. But, however, the statistics and the studies are showing something totally different. As a matter of fact, many experts are saying that the traditional 4-year brick and mortar schools are becoming obsolete, that their traditional college degree, this piece of paper, this college degree, is not worth the thousands of dollars that you spend for it, and that professionals are now realizing that they would rather train their employees rather than have to untrain them from the things that they learned in college. You hear this a lot more these days. They're also seeing that graduates are wholly unprepared for the real world, and that a lot of the information and the technology that they learned while in college is old news, outdated, or even obsolete by the time they graduate 4, 5, 6, 7 years later, right? It's a new world since we graduated from college. I don't know how many years ago that was, 20, 25, 30 years ago. And it's a new world. And so we need to reevaluate our preconceived notions of what it means to get a good education, number one. And then number two, how to be successful and be a successful person in today's job market and economy, which is changing so fast. Day by day, it's changing. If you want to hear some scary statistics about college and the job market in general, I suggest you go watch my College Out of the Box video. It's very enlightening. I have some great statistics in there, and it will definitely open your eyes. So go to that video if you want to hear that. So the system is broken. American student loan debt is in the trillions of dollars, with over 7 million debtors in default. Tuition is rising faster than inflation, and 50% or more of kids graduating, or kids with college degrees, are now unemployed or underemployed. That's a huge amount of students. And what about the college experience or socialization? As homeschoolers, we heard that question a lot with our children growing up, right? And you all heard that question. What about socialization? Well, let me ask you this. Does it take thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, to have an experience or to make friends? Does it have to cost you money to do that? Or are there other ways to do it other than a college or a school setting? And as homeschoolers, you should all know the answer to that one. I mean, that's the big one. What about socialization? And I do talk to parents a lot who say they want their children to have that college experience. Well, again, really do your research and think into that, because the college experience nowadays is a lot different than the college experience we had when we went to college. And I'm not saying that all colleges are like this. Of course not. There are always exceptions, but really do your research and really figure out what kind of experience you want your children to have, right? So check into that. So college is a business, and the students are the consumers, right? Or the customers. And as anything, you need to look at college as a big purchase. Dave Ramsey talks about this all the time. College is a purchase. It's a business. It's something you buy. The on-campus tours now, I'm sure if any of you have gone on any college campus tours with your students lately, you can see a shift in how things are presented and what they focus on. I would love to hear some of your reactions to this and what you've experienced, because I talk to people across the country and I hear story after story after story on this. But nowadays, the campus tours are focusing on the bells and whistles, right? They're going to show you the fancy dorms, the amenities, the tech rooms, the climbing walls, the pools, the sports stadiums, the fraternity and sorority houses and activities. They're going to show you the game rooms, 24-hour room service, hot tubs, concierge service. Are you kidding me? Is this a college? Or are these country clubs or all-inclusive resorts? I mean, they're sounding more and more like an all-inclusive 4-year vacation that you're paying for your students to go to, right? Did you know, excuse me, that the average student only spends approximately 25 to 26 hours per week on academics? Just 25 to 26 hours. And then 86 hours on socialization and recreation. Well, they're getting their socialization, y'all, right? 86 hours per week. And you're paying thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars for that, okay? According to the GRE, which is the Graduate Record Examination, that's the standardized test that students take to apply to graduate school after college. They said that their scores have fallen over time. So students are learning less when they graduate college. You know, they're supposed to be learning more. They're learning less. The scores are falling. So the colleges are not producing what they promise, a solid education. So we go back to the definition of what a scam is. A scam is saying that you're going to receive something, but you don't receive it. Well, the colleges are making all these promises about what you will receive, but they're not producing. They are not living up to their promises. So think about, what that means. It is also found that a larger portion of university resources are going towards research and administration, and actually less toward the actual instruction of your students. So your money is not going toward the education of your student most of the time. Instead, it's going to the upkeep of those extensive amenities we talked about and all the fun stuff on campus, as well as to the research and the salaries of the administration. You can see my links at the bottom. I'm going to include a document, a printout that you can print out of books to read, some links you can look at, some websites. There's some great websites out there that you can Google as well, but they'll give you pie charts or graphs on how the money that you pay for tuition, how all that money is broken up and where all that money goes to. And you will see that a small fraction of it goes to actually the teaching of your students, whereas most of the money is going towards other things like these things that I just mentioned. So you really want to know where your money is going. So another thing to consider, the cost of college. Will college pay off? So some things to consider are, for a majority of colleges, the annual return on investment for attending has been around 7%, which sounds good. 7% return, that sounds good. But the interest rates on student loans all average 7%, with many of them being much higher than that. So that cancels that out, right? So you're not getting your return. I'm sure many of you have also heard this statistic before. A college graduate will earn $1 million more in his or her lifetime than the average high school graduate. I mean, we hear this on all the time. This is what people say to get you to go to college. You'll earn $1 million more over a lifetime. Well, y'all, Money Management 101 will show you that this is faulty reasoning, as well as 4 major factors. And these 4 factors are, number 1, the high cost of tuition. College tuition has risen and risen, and I think it's up 400% since the 1980s, and it keeps rising. It's rising faster than inflation and everything else. So the high cost of college is a factor in this, making this a myth that you're going to earn $1 million more in your lifetime. Another factor is the amount of years that the student is in school and out of the job market. You have to consider this. This means if he's out of the job market and he's in school for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, that means he's not earning any money. That means he's not saving or investing any of that money for those years. And he's not working his way up in a job or getting promoted over those years. So that's a huge opportunity costs missed while they're in college. So you got to consider that as well. The third factor to consider is the unreliable job market. Most graduating now are either unemployed or underemployed, making far less than they thought they would. And that's a huge factor as well. A lot of students have this preconceived notion in their heads of what they'll be earning when they graduate. And I will tell you, a majority of the time, it's not what they think. And then the fourth factor to consider is the student loan debt, many of which is taking graduates up to 20 or more years to pay off. So those years that they're paying off their student loans, again, is money that they're not investing, they're not saving, they're not able to put towards their own business or their life goals or plans, things like that. Again, more opportunity costs and more opportunities lost. So you got to consider all that as well. As a matter of fact, I have many friends now, my age, who are getting ready to send their children off to college, who are still paying off their own student loan debt. I mean, it's crazy. And now they want to saddle their own children with student loan debt. And I always say, haven't you learned anything over the last 20, 25, 30 years? Did you also know, I think it's over 2 million people 60 years old or older, 60 years old or older, who are still paying off student loan debt. Still at 60 years old. This is the time when they should be thinking about retirement or traveling or having fun, and they're still paying off student loan debt. It's crazy. So you got to take all those things into consideration, and those are the 4 factors that are making this statement that you can make $1 million more over your lifetime a myth. It's also a myth that a college degree translates into much higher income over a lifetime. Here's a quote that I got. It says, quote, "Furthermore, just because most smart people go to college doesn't mean they should. They may earn more money, but what they keep, note keep, is more important than what they make. Financial columnist Jack Hugh created a very illuminating hypothetical scenario with 2 people, one who chooses college and one who enters the labor force right after high school. Hugh then uses the average cost of college as well as U.S. Census Bureau data for the average income of college graduates and non-graduates, adjusted for age. He assumes both save and invest 5% of their income each year. By the age of 65, how does the net worth of each look? Well, according to Hugh, the college graduate, if you can see that, is $400,000 is what they're worth. The high school graduate by age 65 is worth $1,300,000. Again, because they got into the workforce right away, they had no student loan debt, they weren't paying a huge tuition, they were earning money, saving money, and investing money early, using that compound interest to help them along the way, right? So you have to weigh the potential debt against potential earnings. The average first-year salary of college graduates is approximately $36,000. And y'all, when I talk to teenagers, you all need to have your teenagers sit and watch this with you, because when I go across the country and I talk to teenagers and ask them, I always ask, what do you think you'll be making when you graduate college? And I get these astounding numbers, y'all, which just crack me up. It's anywhere from $100,000, from the day they graduate college to up to, you know, 1 million or more. They all think they're going to be these famous bloggers or these famous YouTubers, or right when they graduate, they're going to be this doctor who's earning 500 grand a year right away. So it would be very helpful if you sat down and really, you know, not to dash your teenagers' dreams, but to have a realistic conversation about what life is really going to look like when they graduate. You know, go on those websites where it shows you what the pay will be for whatever degree they're going for. It shows, I think one's called Pay Scale, which shows the average degree of a college graduate in whatever field they may want to be in. So check things out like that, have realistic conversations, and map out, you know, like what is it they expect, what is it that reality can maybe, you know, portray for them. So another myth is, it's a myth that a college degree is your passport to social mobility or a happier life. And you all have probably experienced this firsthand or know someone who does, right? We all know that a college degree doesn't mean that you're set for life. A college degree doesn't mean you're going to be any happier than someone without a college degree. I mean, we all know people with college degrees who love their jobs. We also know people with college degrees who hate their jobs, and vice versa. High school graduates who love their jobs and high school graduates who hate their jobs. People who are happy, people who are unhappy. That piece of paper does not guarantee you a lifetime of happiness or social mobility or comfort for your future, right? It all depends on the person. So you know the system is broken when you have people like Peter Thiel, his name is Thiel, you can look him up if you want, who is paying students $100,000 each if they will drop out of college to do something else. For example, like start a business. He's got this whole foundation out there. You can check into that. Or you all heard of Mike Rowe from the Dirty Jobs TV show. He was the host of the Dirty Jobs. He's also the CEO of something called Works Foundation. He sees the push for college education in America as contributing to a wide skills gap, leaving many manufacturing jobs unfulfilled. He also says, and this is a quote, "There is no hope without an education. You've got to be clear. You have to have some competency. But the idea that the best path for the most people just happens to be the most expensive path, well, there's just something fundamentally corrupt in that," unquote. And I agree with him. The most expensive way is not always the best way, right? It was also found that when the MacArthur Foundation gives out their Genius Grants, those grants were given to students not from Ivy League colleges, but from other institutions and community colleges. Many assume that the Ivy League colleges are these geniuses. They get the Genius Grants, but most of them do not go to people who graduate from Ivy League colleges. And a high number of fellows graduated from liberal arts colleges. Studies were also done to see where many of the Fortune 500 company leaders came from, what colleges they graduated from, as well as presidents, political advisors, famous entrepreneurs, etc. They did this big study on where these people graduated from. And it was found that most come from a variety of colleges, with a lot less coming from Ivy League colleges that you would think, and most coming from liberal arts colleges, and even many from community colleges. It has also been shown that graduates of community colleges earned comparable salaries as those of average four-year schools when students of similar abilities were compared. The highest earners among community college graduates actually earned more than the highest earners from the average four-year colleges. That I found very interesting. So it also doesn't matter really, generally, where you go to school. And of course, like I said, there's always exceptions. But I have talked to many employers across the country over the years, HR managers, people who do the hiring for their companies, and all of them have said that they don't care where you've gone to school. They don't care what your degree is in, unless it's for a particular position that they need a certain degree. But generally speaking, they don't care where your degree is, what was in, if it was a bachelor's degree or if it was an associate's degree. Really, all they care about is that you started something and then you finished it and you show that you have follow through. And they're really looking for other things other than that piece of paper and the college degree. And I'm going to get into that a little bit in one of my other talks. But, you know, of course, again, there's always exceptions, but generally, across the board, it really doesn't matter what you spend on your college degree, where you go, you know, what your major is in. As long as you have a plan, I think, and you're motivated, and you know where you're going, and you know what your goals are, you'll accomplish that and you'll reach your goals. So there is less and less evidence to suggest that an expensive college degree is worth it compared to a cheaper one. So, will college pay off? I mean, take everything I said into consideration, as well as just remember this. Think about the cost of attending the college, the years lost in the job market because you're spending them in college and you're not saving or investing them. Again, money you're not able to invest or save because of the years spent out of the job market while you're in college, as well as the years after college when you're trying to pay off all your student loan debts. You also have to consider, will you be employable? I have another talk called What to Major In, how to find, you know, how to figure out what to major in, what your passions are. If you don't know, watch that video. But I go into all the things that make you employable and what the employers are looking for. And I go into detail on that. But lately, we've been hearing specialize. Go to college, specialize, specialize, specialize. But we don't hear often enough that actually employers are looking for people with a rounded out degree, like a liberal arts degree. We always hear, oh, you majored in liberal arts, right? Oh, that's the easy degree or whatever. Actually, many employers are looking for the liberal arts degree because that shows that you're well-rounded and you have a variety of skills versus being so specialized that you're limiting yourself and you're actually making yourself unemployable. So that's another thing to think about, okay? So studies have found that 1 in 4, this one just blew my mind, that 1 in 4 students would be better off if they dropped out of college and went into the workforce directly out of high school. So you got to take that all into consideration. You have to treat college as any other investment. Look at the ROI. That's the return on investment. You wouldn't spend $200,000 on a house that you buy and then you're never going to live in, right? But people do that all the time with college degrees. They're spending thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on a degree that they don't even end up using, either because they're in a field unrelated to their degree, which another statistic, I think it's like 85% of people get into fields that are unrelated to their degrees. They either become a stay-at-home parent or they're unemployed or underemployed after college. So all these factors you got to take into consideration. So you have to count the actual costs, and those are the costs like tuition, room and board, books, plus the myriad of other expenses that most people don't even think about. Think about things like this, like travel expenses, getting to and from home at Christmas, summer, vacation time, whatever. Parking passes, computer fees, material fees, like if you're taking art classes or architecture classes or whatever, you have material fees, events and ticket fees, sports fees, going out and entertainment and pizza night and gas money. There are so many other fees that people, I don't think, really truly think about when they're getting ready to send their children. Even just decorating the dorm fee. Oh my goodness, y'all. When college, the first year of college comes around and everyone starts posting on Facebook, how to decorate the dorm, and they're posting all these pictures of these elaborate dorm rooms that these people decorate. I know people who spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 just decorating the dorm room alone. So consider fees like that. All these fees add up that you don't even think about. So you got to consider the actual cost of going to college, and then you also have to consider the opportunity costs. And those were the things I talked about earlier. The income, the retirement benefits, the investment benefits not earned or not saved because your student is spending years in college, and then after graduation spending years and thousands of dollars trying to pay off those thousands of dollars of student loan debt, right? Those are all years and opportunity costs lost. And another, I put it in quotes, but cost to consider is the cost of your student's well-being and soul. You just spent 18 years or so homeschooling your children or teaching your children or raising them up or whatever the situation is at home that you did, And now you want to send them off to who knows what. Now, I'm not saying all colleges are like this. Y'all know this is not true. I mean, I'm talking general. But as we have seen and learned over the years and heard over the years, I mean, we hear horror stories all the time, and things that we've already talked about, colleges are not the safest of places. They're full of students just wanting the college experience, right? Not really there to learn. Their colleges are considered indoctrination centers. They're censors of speech, full of political correctness. They're not preparing our students for the real world many of the times. There's many professors out there who try to make you reject your religious beliefs or upbringing or what have you. Many colleges are biased to the extreme. Now these colleges have safe places and coloring rooms and things like that. And then classes like, and I looked these up, y'all. If you want to know what classes colleges are offering, you just need to Google something. They have classes like The Sociology of Miley Cyrus, or Getting Dressed, or Beginning Dungeons and Dragons, or What If Harry Potter Were Real? These are classes that your students are taking, and you're paying thousands of dollars for it. It's crazy. I have actually personally witnessed numerous students who have gone off to college to come home 1 year later, just 1 year later for the summer, and I didn't even recognize them. They were changed. Their whole appearance has shifted. Their personality changed, their appearance has changed, their attitude has changed, everything's changed, and not for the better, unfortunately. And I say you're paying thousands of dollars for this. So again, not every college is like this, and not every student will do this, and of course there's always exceptions, so I don't want to get mail and letters saying, well, my student, I know this, I'm talking in general, but it's something to be aware of. And just be aware and do your research before you send your child off to somewhere, who knows where, for 4, 5, 6, 7 years before you're paying all of that money, okay? So another question to ask yourself about the whole college, should I send my child to college? Should we go to college? Is college worth it? Is college a scam? What have you? Is what exactly is your goal? What and what is the most efficient way to reach that goal and to accomplish that? So before you just blindly go off to college, because that's what your friends are doing, or that's what your parents say to do, or that's what the counselors are telling you, or that's what society is telling you, really sit down and figure out what your goals are, what you value, and how you'd like your life to look like in the future. And to make at least a tentative plan. Figure out the most efficient way to go about to reach these goals. Again, if you're trying to figure out what to major in college, you may want to watch my other video that I'll be having. It's called Don't Know What to Major In, or What Your Passion Is. Here are some great tips to help you figure that out. And it's very helpful. I talk to teenagers, like I said, across the country, and we do these workshops, and I constantly get teenagers coming up to me saying, thank you so much. These are great little activities and projects I can do, and little things I can do to help me figure out what I want to do with my life. So it also helps a lot of adults, because, I'm almost 50 years old and still know what I want to do with my life. I'm still, I love doing what I do, but, that's not what I went to college for. Again, I'm in that 85% who don't do what they majored in. But one fact that came out when I was doing my research, interviews with freshmen over the recent years came out, and they specify what their number one reason to attend college is. So they compared what freshmen say now to what they said in the past. And what they say now is they attend college. The whole main reason for them to attend college is to get a job. Whereas in recent years past, before, it was to learn things that interest me. So do you notice the shift? Now kids are going to college not to figure out what interests them or to study things that are of their passion or interest, but it's mostly now to get a job. And here's another quote from this book that I read. This author says, year after year, I watch college students pass through my classroom, knowing that they're pursuing a college education, not because it deepens their soul and expands their mind, but because it enhances their earning power. I fear for their future because they may learn to equate their value with their performance. And I see that. I mean, this was such a great quote, and I see that over and over and over again with college students these days. The whole reason why they're in college is because they're there to make money. They're there to get a job so they can make lots of money or do something. And that is not fulfilling. That is not going to make them happy. And a lot of times, years later, I'll ask and talk to these students and they're miserable. They hate their jobs. They don't like where they're at. They're stuck in huge student loan debts. And if they would have just spent a little time beforehand figuring out what their goals were and ways that they could achieve their goals and things that would actually get them inspired and passionate about life and their work, they may have gone a whole different direction. So this is something that you can really sit down with your students and have these discussions with them. So college students nowadays are choosing majors based on what is hot right now, but they won't graduate, again, remember, for several years, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And what's hot now may not be so hot when they graduate, and it's a problem. What's happening is a big supply of these new majors are now coming into the market, and then that depresses the wages and job opportunities. For example, we've seen this happen with a lot of certain types of engineering over the recent years. So employers say that the most important attributes in their hiring decisions all have to do with work experience and pay little attention, really, to academics. When I talk to employers, they say what's most important for hiring to them are these: internships, part-time jobs, volunteer experiences, and extracurricular activities. I find that interesting. All of which they say are important or more important or just as important as the college major. This is what they say. 70% of employers said that they would ignore that must have a college degree qualification if the candidate had these other things that I just talked about and was a good fit for the job. So they don't even care if you have a college degree if you have these other things. Employers want someone with job skills who can manage priorities and make decisions, who has organization and planning skills, and great oral and written communication. All of which, again, have nothing to do with a specific occupation or specific courses. These are things you can learn outside of college, y'all. And the employers I talk to, again, remember I told you I talk to employers across the nation, and I interview over the past few years, they all say the same thing. They're looking for 3 major things. Do y'all want to know what these 3 things are? They're so easy. Number 1, they're looking for someone who will be on time. Number 2, they're looking for someone with a strong work ethic. And number 3, they're looking for people who are honest. That's it. That's it. If you can master these 3 skills, y'all, you are going to be way ahead of your peers graduating from college with whatever degree they have. So this is what employers are looking for. And I kind of find that kind of sad, don't you? That these are the qualifications of what they're looking for. Be on time, have a good work ethic, and be honest. Y'all can do this. They also want to know if you can take direction, not get offended. Come on, y'all. Are you mature? Can you make decisions on your own? Can you communicate effectively? Process information and problem solve? Are you adaptable? And do you have a willingness to learn and be a team player? Again, all skills you can learn in everyday life, and you don't have to go to college for that. Now, I'm not saying not to go to college. I'm just saying these are what employers are looking for. So if you're going to college, learn these things as well as whatever you're learning for your major, right? So studies have shown that life skills trump analytic and research skills. Therefore, remember those specialized degrees I talked about earlier? Those have the downside of locking you into a career that may not be ideal for you, number 1, or is not marketable. Most employers say they are looking for a broad academic degree and practical job experience. Practical job experience. Here's a quote. In an increasingly complex world, the foundation of learning, a liberal arts education, is more important than ever, unquote. This is according to experts. This is what they are saying. But we don't hear this very often, do we? Like I said, we always hear the liberal arts degree. Oh, you got a liberal arts degree. Whoop-de-doo, right? But this is what employers are looking for nowadays, because over time, the liberal arts degree got a bad rap somewhere along the way, and then people began to specialize and specialize and specialize. And now we're getting so specialized that we're unmarketable. And we need to go back to having a broader range of skills. So keep that in mind as well. College should actually be a preparation for a lifetime. So don't be so specialized that your degree goes out of date quickly. That type of degree is pretty risky and then not so valuable, and you're spending thousands of dollars to get that degree. So just remember, we can't predict where the economy will be and which jobs will be in demand years into the future. I mean, we all saw that with the dot-com bubble that burst in the 2000s and the real estate bubble that burst later on. And, you know, we never know what's going to be hot or marketable or what's going to be happening in the world years from now. There's also been found, I found this very interesting, a high turnover in fields like IT and among STEM graduates. It seems there are many entry-level jobs are available. They're available for the graduates, but then those people don't stay in those positions very long. And when they leave those jobs, they usually even leave science and engineering careers altogether. Only 29% of graduates with science and engineering degrees had science and engineering jobs 2 years later, just 2 years later. And about half left those fields for other careers over the next 10 years. So I found that extremely interesting. That only 29% had engineering and science had science and engineering jobs 2 years later, and more than half over the next 10 years left. So 90% of U.S. colleges give academics for academic credit for internships, which helps you later on when looking for a job. So you really, really want to be looking for those. While you're in college, make sure you're getting that practical job experience that these employers want. Look for internships or part-time jobs that are in your field that you want to be working in. That is what the employers are looking for. That is what's going to give you an edge up. And this is very interesting. Employers also say that they would rather students get an internship or volunteer in their field rather than go on and pursue further education in that field. So think about that. Okay, y'all. So the next time you go on a college tour, as you are admiring all those bells and whistles of the campus and all the cool amenities, and you're asking questions about sports events and fraternities and sororities and so on, here are a few other questions that you should be sure to ask and get answers on. Get a pen and paper, because you definitely want to write these down. And I can pretty much guarantee that your host or tour guide will not know the answer to most of these questions, and you really need to make sure you find out. Okay? Number one, ask, is the college itself in debt? What is their financial strength? And you can check, there's something on the Department of Education watch list. They have it on all colleges, and they talk about colleges who are going in the red or who are in the red or going bankrupt. So go to the Department of Education, and they have these watch lists on colleges. You definitely want to check this out. If your college is going in bankrupt, or they're in they are itself in debt, that's a huge red flag. Okay. Another question to ask is, does the institution participate in the Collegiate Learning Assessment? Now, ask about the average scores, which these are rarely publicized. So what these show is how seniors compare with freshmen. For example, they take a test in freshman year, and then they take a test senior year, and it shows whether they're advancing or decreasing. You know, are they advancing? Are they learning more over the course of 4 years or not? And with many schools, you're going to see that they are not. As a matter of fact, the scores decrease over the 4 years. And if that's the case for the school that you're looking at, red flag, do not go there. And these schools will not advertise these, so you have to, they won't publicize them for sure. You have to do a little bit of research and find these. Also, grade inflation is more prevalent now. That's where the students get A's just for completing assignments, or even half the time just for showing up at class, and not because they're actually learning anything. So it might look like students are getting A's across the board, or they're learning a lot, but when they actually take these assessments, it's showing that they're not learning anything at all. So the scores are going high, and the price of degree is increasing, but the amount of learning is decreasing. Again, back to, is college a scam? Are they producing what they say they're going to produce? Are they using your money like they say they're going to use your money? Are your students coming out better or worse after college? All these are things to consider. You know, are they living up to what they promise? Another question to ask is, what kind of quality of teaching will you be getting? Are classes being taught by TAs or professors? I can guarantee most colleges the classes are being taught by teachers' assistants and not the actual professors themselves, because the professors are busy researching, writing papers, and trying to get publicized. Another question is, will you have hands-on learning experiences and opportunities? What about portability and transferology of credits? This is huge, especially if you think you might be transferring into a school or transferring from a school into another school. Will all those credits that you're paying for, will they transfer? Will it be easy to transfer, or is it going to be a headache? Another question to ask is, what is the graduation rate of the school? This is a huge, important question to ask, y'all. Along with, how long does it take the average student to graduate? Remember, we talked about most students will not graduate within 4 years. It's usually more like 5 to 7 years, and they won't advertise this on their website. You need to find out. And what is the graduation rate of the school? How many are actually graduating? There many might start, but again, most don't finish. What kind of retention rates does the school have? And what kind of support services does the school have? What will the value of your degree be in the job market? You can get statistics on job placement and employment after college. Most colleges will have these statistics, but again, you have to look and find this. Before you apply to a school or just assume that you can afford it, you should check the school's net price calculator. Congress has now mandated that schools include a net price calculator on their website so students can estimate what college will cost them after grants and other various forms of aid, so you need to look for it on the school's website. However, many schools try to hide this, so you may have to search for it. But Congress has mandated that they have it. So if they don't have that, you can call the school and find out. So if the school can't answer these questions or doesn't want to, big red flag. You know, they might be so impressive, you know, as you're walking around the campus, and they've got a beautiful campus and everything else. But if they can't answer these important questions, huge red flag. So take these questions, as well as maybe some other ones you want to ask, on your tour of the schools, and make sure you get the answer to these questions. So, as we wrap this up, y'all, I hope to have given you some good things to think about and questions that you can ask your potential alma mater. And always, I just want you to remember that maybe college is not for you. There are so many alternatives now. We have, you know, entrepreneurship, gap years, the military, there's trade and vocational schools, there's community college, there's that free internet degree. You know, you can learn anything off the internet. You can learn from the best colleges like MIT, Harvard, Princeton, from the best professors on those MOOC classes. There are massive open online classes online. They are incredible. I've taken many of those just for the information, and they are phenomenal classes. You can literally get a college degree for free if you want to. Of course, you're not going to have that piece of paper, but you can learn anything off the internet. So, you know, check into all these alternatives to you. You know, you also have internships, going directly into the workforce, non-traditional routes to college to getting a degree, etc. So don't limit yourself to one option. Do your research. Who knows what's out there and what's available to you? You know, I am for college. I am for a higher degree. I am for learning. I love learning. I'm constantly learning. I want students to keep learning all the time. But I am not for an institution that costs so much and cripples our students and prevents them from actually advancing. And instead, you know, like all these studies are showing that people are graduating college with less knowledge, and now they're in debt and they're paying all this money. There are other ways to get your degree. So for those of you who still would like to get your degree, you can also check out all the options out there other than a traditional four-year brick and mortar school. There's various ways you can earn a diploma in less time and for a lot less money. One way is to watch my video called College Out of the Box, or you can visit the website, www.collegeoutofthebox.com, which shows you how you can still get your degree in less than 2 years and for under $6,000, no matter your age, and nor pretty much what major you choose. It works for all schools, all majors, all ages, so you can check into that. That might be another option for you. So just another avenue for you to check out. So until next time, I thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you all have a very blessed day. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.